Hey, it's Don, the Auction Professor. Today we're just going to give you some ideas and some things you can be doing now when you're unable to source or you already have all your items listed. One thing I've always done when I was a regional or general manager is we had group get-togethers of other managers, and we do what's called brainstorming. We'd throw ideas out on the table, people would write them down, and then we'd try to think of other ways to either improve sales, cut down on loss, help with inventory issues, or food waste in general. These are all things that were helpful to have other people's input on. Now, obviously, it may not be possible for you to do that. You may not want to share the information. There's many other things that you can do. Blind research through random words and SEO searches are always good things to do. You can learn things that you never thought possible or that you would have never thought about looking up by doing things like this. It's a good time for research. For those who don't know certain items or don't know certain areas, there's a lot you can do and understand from just looking online, reading articles and things like that as well. Obviously, watching videos or whatever you may wish to do. I don't watch a lot of TV for me. There's some shows we watch, but I don't spend most of my time doing that sort of thing. I do a lot of research on my, downtime, I guess you could say. And I like finding new things, new areas, new categories. This is especially important if you're into wholesale. A lot of people's daily life, if you're a wholesaler, could be just researching items to invest in, to buy for wholesale purchases. So, you got to think about that aspect of it if you're in certain areas. Wholesale is huge. You got to see what track sales records are, sales history across platforms. Is the item trending? All kinds of things like that. Is there an interest in the item? Do you have a market for the item? Are the prices sustainable? What happens if you buy at one price, the price goes down or something? Are you going to end up tanking your item and losing money? A lot of this is literally just research time. There's people that do probably 60 or 70% of their time is just research, and the other 30 or 40% is acquiring the items and listing them. They make just as much money as me or you or anybody else out there. They may make way more because the research is key to those certain areas. Certain people have researched and found maybe one or two items that can make them a living if you know how to leverage those items and the knowledge that you get out of your research. We're going to flip over in a minute here to just a search on eBay, and we're just going to show you one of these random word brainstorming things you can do with research. Research is, again, key for all of this to work. I know so many different areas because I've been doing it so long, and I've spent several decades researching these items, and you're going to learn anything if you do it for so long. So everybody out there who's watching or is into this, once you've done the same thing, you've been in the same job for 10 years, you're an electrician or you're a carpenter, you get so good at those positions. And that's what I've had the luck to be able to do because we've done this for so long. You got the time now, as I said, so let's hop over there and show you just some random things that you can do to occupy your time and learn a bunch of new stuff. So let's look at the actual process here. All I'm going to do is pick some random word, and we're going to do a sold listing search on eBay. That's all I'm going to do. That's all I'll start with. I picked the word red. It's a color. You'll see it on many different things, and we're just going to do a sold item search. That's all I'm going to start with. So if you can't brainstorm with somebody, you can just start throwing some words out there and see where they take you. Now you can break these down from highest to lowest. That's what I will always do whenever I do any kind of search on here. And we're going to search by category specifics as well. So we'll expand it, and we're going to open up a couple of these in their own tab, just the category specifics. And you can pick them down to areas that you want to sell in and things like that too. Red's a very generic term. You can try every color in the book. You can just throw some random word out there and figure out from that point. Hen. Type in the word hen, H-E-N, and see where that takes you as well. This will take you down a rabbit hole of things. You'll find all kinds of oddball things you've never ever heard of or seen before doing this. And you're only looking at them based on the value of them. Hot Wheels Redline. I've talked about these before. I've got a video on them as well. A lot of this stuff you'll find just by searching certain keywords like that. Red, specifically. It's such a basic word. Once you figured out this, let's say you were looking into red cars, you can type in the word car. Now you have red car, and you're just searching for something like that. So if you're outsourcing later on in the future, you'll be looking for a specific kind of red car. It's just giving you another idea, another avenue of doing some research. Again, if you can't go sourcing, you might as well spend that time researching something, learning something from this, so you'll be better when it's time to go searching for stuff again. That's how I take it. A lot of what I know is from just doing searches or researching stuff for years and years and years. I've been collecting or selling stuff since I was like 7. I collected Star Wars cards in the 70s. I had all the action figures, the whole works. I was a comic book collector, a postage stamp collector. I inherited my father's stamps and comic books, so I had some start in this. But I've been doing this for so long, and I researched so much stuff. This is just an example of something you can do in this aspect of it. Again, brainstorming is great, and this is just an option to get your brain thinking and get your brain doing some stuff. Occupy your time. You can spend hours doing this. There are people that just do research like this for a living and then put up reports and market their service for doing stuff just like this. Now, a lot of items that we do sell, I can find basic information by doing stuff like this. I can pull up some of this information and I can go to Google Trending. I can see which versions, which types of things are trending or are hotter than other ones to more accurately determine where to go with these. There are other platforms, SimilarWeb and other sites like that, that will offer you even better information. Now, some of these sites may be paid sites. You don't need to do that. There's enough information out there to do it without paying for it. I have not had to pay for the basic research to narrow down things to look for. Now, this is something you can do for wholesale. This is something you can do for NOS items as well. You just have to be able to determine which ones are the best ones to look for to begin with, to even look for them to start off. So, take it in that direction here. Now, as you look through here, you'll see many different aspects of things that are going on in this area. A lot of them may tie to things that I've even talked about as well, like Pokemon cards, Red Eyes, Blue Dragon. This is just one example of this card. I have a video on that as well. You can find all kinds of things to look for. There's very specifics on most of these, so you'll have to narrow them down. You'll have to find multiples of the same one, like Pokemon cards or tin trucks and things along that line. Now, I've talked about marks. Here's a marks playset. This is one you just won't find. Maybe this set you'll never find, but if you open up the listing itself, you may find some individual pieces in there that will show up that you may not have had a clue on. So there's many different reasons why you would look through random searches like this. Brainstorming is one of the biggest ones. And we can just search on down through here. Here's another Yu-Gi-Oh card, the same one, Red Eyes, Blue Dragon. Again, look at the prices on these things. These are just random ones. Another Yu-Gi-Oh card right there. Star Wars cards, red-haired Princess Leia. Again, there's varieties on all of these, and these are things that I've talked about many, many times over. Now, for those in Patreon, I've talked about the Poppy Mashinder lines as well, the Shogun Warriors. Here's the Red Baron. This is an early Japanese version of it. There's so many things that you can find that you may not have had a clue on just by doing these random searches like this. You'll see red lines, you'll see cards, you'll see figures, toys of all types. Now, we can hop over to a totally different category, as I said, and we can look under collectibles also. Give you a whole nother line. Now, here's another good example of things that are hot that most people wouldn't think a thing about. I've talked about playing cards. I have a video on playing cards as well. This is from the Golden Nugget. Now, this is over what you usually find them for in my book, but they show up. They're worth a fortune. Most people don't know it. The playing cards date back to even to the 80s and 90s, still can go for hundreds of dollars if you get the right one. Comic books, of course, are great as well. Don Primetime Treasure Hunter is another comic book guy like me. So this is just another way to find new items, new categories, new venues of things to look for. You've got the time now. Don't just blow it. Don't just throw on a movie. Spend it researching. Spend it learning something. You can come out of this issue and what's going on right now knowing so much more than those who just give up on it or would rather spend their time watching movies or something like that. There's nothing wrong with doing that either if that's what you want to do. But in my book, I just want to learn and be better off all of the time. That is my goal all the time, to better myself every chance I get. These are things that can help you in business. So this is why I recommend doing this. You can't do hard research out in the real world now. You can't source a lot of items. I know there still is Craigslist ads. There still are Facebook ads. I have seen an uptick in Craigslist right now, as well as Facebook Marketplace. But it's not going to be everybody's option to do that. You're just not going to find enough stuff. There's going to be more and more competition. So just keep that in mind. Spend your time researching it if you have nothing else to do with time. We're spending a lot of time listing right now. So if you don't have that option, do some research with it as well. Surprisingly enough, my sales haven't dropped dead. We're still going fairly decently. Surprising, but it may not be that way for very long. So again, I've already got stuff lined up to do. We're going to do some more research as well. We're going to research and price tons of stuff here. There's all kinds of things you can do, but not panicking, not giving up, and working through this is the best way around this. Occupy your mind. Don't just dwell on what's going on or what could happen. So just look ahead, I guess, is the biggest point here. Don't just panic about this. Don't just think that there's nothing you can do. Knowledge is power. Learning stuff like this will give you the heads up, the notch you may need once this all goes away. Anyway, that's what I have for you. Well, there you are. Hopefully that helps out with some things to do. I have learned and found many items to sell just by doing keyword searches like this. Now, obviously, you can expand on all of those. You can go in more depth and do more things like red toy figure, red cars, red scarf, whatever you're selling. If you're in clothes or shoes or jackets, color-wise or anything like that. Any term you can think of could be a good term. The word tooth, the word barn, any kind of word out there can lead you down that rabbit hole that can find you all kinds of different things to look for. So anyway, that's what I have for you. Hopefully that gave you some ideas and some thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
My baloney has a first name, it's O-S-C-A-R. My baloney has a second name, it's M-A-Y-E-R. Oh, I love to eat it every day, and if you ask me why, I'll say, 'cause Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
Oscar Mayer, the first name in Bologna.